Hello friends, good morning. My name is Akash Sanjay Khubragade. I am a coordinator at Karunyakara Institute of Dalit Knowledge and PhD scholar at Delhi University. Karunyakara Institute of Dalit Knowledge is founded by Professor Dr. Leela Karunyakara sir, and his idea behind this institution to provide an academic space to professors, doctors, scholars, and social scientists who are engaged in the field of Dalit studies and marginalized studies. Today, Karunyakara Institute of Dalit Knowledge is going to have its 49th lecture. This lecture is a part of a series that we started on 14th of April 2025 on the occasion of Dr. Babasaheb Bhimrao Ambedkar Jayanti. We already completed 1 year with the continuous series of lecture. We are very happy to share our next lecture with you. And today, Professor Dr. Leela Karunyakara is going to deliver his lecture, and he's also going to chair the session. So before starting the lecture, I just like to welcome and introduce him. I welcome Professor Dr. Leela Karunyakara sir, and Professor Dr. Leela Karunyakara sir is a founder of Karunyakara Institute of Dalit Knowledge, and he is a former Vice Chancellor of Mahatma Gandhi Antarashtriya Hindi Vishwavidyalaya. He completed his MA, he's completed his MPhil and PhD from JNU New Delhi, and after completing his PhD, he joined as assistant professor at Dr. Babasaheb Bhimrao Ambedkar University, a central university, Lucknow. He introduced their MA history, Dalit history Dalit history course in MA, Dalit history program in MA history course, and he is the instrumental behind the 50% reservation for SC/ST in the university. Also, Professor Dr. Leela Karunyakara sir founded Ambedkar University Dalit Student Union in 2000 and Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar Central University SC/ST Teachers Association in 2006. He joined as director cum professor in Babasaheb Ambedkar Sidhu Kanun Murmu Dalit and Tribal Studies Center at Mahatma Gandhi Antarashtriya Hindi Vishwavidyalaya, Wardha. He held post of Dean of School of Culture and former Vice Chancellor of that university. So I welcome Professor Dr. Leela Karunyakara sir. And Professor Dr. Leela Karunyakara sir going to deliver his lecture on Annihilation of Caste. It's 9th section and part 10. So I request Professor Dr. Leela Karunyakara sir to please deliver his lecture.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Akash. At the outset, I welcome all the participants who are regularly attending Karunyakara Institute of Dalit Knowledge conducted series of Dalit Knowledge lectures. Dalit Knowledge lecture series, for past 1 year, we are continuously, without any interruption, we are conducting. We have invited eminent scholars from reputed universities like JNU, DU, Hyderabad Central University, Madras Institute of Advanced Studies, and many more universities, Babasaheb Bhimrao Ambedkar Central University, Lucknow, and many more universities. And I myself taken up the task of discussing Ambedkar's original texts. Instead of talking on topics in general, I picked up Ambedkar text. This is our 5th text, Annihilation of Caste, which is there in volume 1 of the Ambedkar's writings and speeches, published by Maharashtra government as well as Government of India. So Annihilation of Caste is a undelivered lecture of Babasaheb Bhimrao Ambedkar that was written in 1936. Unfortunately, he could not deliver, and it was published in a booklet. Now it's a part of volume 1 of the Ambedkar's writings and speeches. My dear friends, like thinkers in different historical times, they have produced a new thought by way of writing. So there are many books written by every thinker. But among those important books, one book that contains something great thoughts that impacts generations and generations. If we talk about Karl Marx, Karl Marx wrote many books, but Das Kapital is regarded as the very important book of Karl Marx that impacted many people for many years. Even today, it is impacting in academics as well as at the societal level. Look at the Gandhi. Gandhi also wrote many books. But Gandhi's what is that book which I talked already earlier? Which book? Gandhi's one is very famous for his thoughts. Could anybody tell here? Like Karl Marx, The Capital, Das Kapital, or Communist Manifesto. Hind Swaraj, Gandhi's Hind Swaraj. Gandhi's book, Hind Swaraj, is regarded as the most important book of Gandhi. Why? Because it expresses the core thoughts of Gandhi that impacted many. Same is the case with Communist Manifesto or The Capital, Das Kapital of the Karl Marx. Same way, Babasaheb Ambedkar wrote many books. Annihilation of Caste is regarded as, it's not a book actually, Annihilation of Caste is a lecture to be delivered, but Ambedkar could not deliver that book, that lecture, that we know why it is. You may visit my lecture 1, you could find the details. Lecture 1 on Annihilation of Caste. So this is every section Ambedkar divided. There are many sections, more than 20 sections. There are in Annihilation of Caste, totally it's about many sections, and it's a 24 sections, 26 sections. 26 sections. Ambedkar's Annihilation of Caste, though it is a speech, but it is a very long speech. It consists 26 sections in a print. And it carries Gandhi reaction also to the book Annihilation of Caste. And Ambedkar replied to Gandhi reaction. That also there here. So certainly we are going to discuss all these things in coming days. As we know, KIDK lecture is a weekly lecture. Every Saturday, 11:30, we will be having a KIDK lecture. It's a Dalit knowledge lecture series. And we are proud and happy that it's been continuing on without any interruption. As far as Annihilation of Caste lecture series is concerned, which is a part of a broad Dalit knowledge lecture series, Annihilation of Caste lecture series is a part of broad Dalit knowledge lecture series. Annihilation of Caste lecture series, part 1, lecture number 1, that's a part 1. It is about prologue, which Ambedkar wrote to his booklet, Annihilation of Caste, that was published in 1936 for the first time. Prologue, Ambedkar was very clear. Now, every lecture, I deliberately discuss the gist of every section of the Annihilation of Caste, which we have already completed. So this is a section 9th. In this lecture, I am going to deal the concept which Ambedkar talked in the section 9 of the Annihilation of Caste. But before that, let me explain the gist of the past 8 lectures, past 8 sections. First lecture, it was about prologue, not about a section. Section 1. Section 1 is nothing, just he was talking about the Jat Pat Todak Mandal, means caste breaking association. The Jat Pat Todak Mandal in English, caste breaking association, that was in Lahore. Now it is in Pakistan. And this lecture was written 1936, before almost 10 years before the independence of India. So section 1, he was talking about the Jatpat Todak Mandal. So there is nothing much important to talk in that section. So our first lecture, we focused on prologue which Ambedkar wrote to the Annihilation of Caste. In that prologue, Ambedkar was very clear that what was the main theme, the gist of that prologue is that Ambedkar, the message is that a Dalit should not be a part of non-Dalit movement. That's a message of Ambedkar in the prologue. Dalit should not be part of any movement led by non-Dalits. You may ask me, sir, suppose if a non-Dalit want to break the society, break the caste system, if non-Dalit wants to annihilate the caste, if non-Dalit is working against the caste, then what Dalits supposed to do? Does Dalit society join non-Dalits against the caste against the caste? A movement led by non-Dalits against the caste. In that situation, what Dalits supposed to do? For example, a Brahmin comes to you and say that I am also against I'm also against the caste. I am also leading a movement against the caste. I am for the annihilation of caste. I am for the Ambedkar agenda. I am also Ambedkarite. Suppose if Brahmin comes and say, I am also Ambedkarite. I am also against the caste. I also want to annihilate the caste. I am leading a movement. Why don't you join with me? If any Brahmin ask a Dalit, then what Dalits should do? Ambedkar was very clear. Ambedkar did not want to be a part of any movement, even if that movement is anti-caste. Even if that movement is anti-caste movement. Generally, Dalits overwhelmed by the non-Dalits initiation of anti-caste movements. Generally, being the worst victims of the caste system, Dalits are more emotional towards anti-caste movements. So suddenly Dalits join the Brahmins to fight against the anti-caste movement. That's not the case with Ambedkar. Ambedkar says that anti-caste movement should be led by Dalits only. For that matter, any movement should be led by Dalits only. What does it mean? You might ask me a question. So then why did Ambedkar join Nehru government as a law minister? Because the first government after independence was not led by Dalits. It was led by a Brahmin, Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru. When a Brahmin led government, why did Ambedkar join as a law minister? That question you may ask me. The answer is that Ambedkar, when he said Dalits should not be a part of any movement led by non-Dalits, it doesn't mean that we should be away from the opportunities provided by the circumstances. We should be part of any government as long as we are allowed to work to protect the interest of Dalits. Ambedkar joined as a law minister in the Nehru cabinet, but Ambedkar also resigned from the law minister post. Why it is so? Because Ambedkar joined in the cabinet of Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru to work as a law minister to protect the interests of the Dalits and to protect the interests of the India in general, Dalits in particular. But when Ambedkar found, being a law minister, he could not protect the interest of Dalits, he could not protect the interests of India in general, then he resigned from the law minister post. So that should be the strategy of Dalits. Dalits should, of course, to join with Brahmins, to join with anyone, only with the intention of protecting the interest of Dalit community. When you cannot protect the interest of Dalit community, you must resign from your post. Even if you are a minister, chief minister, prime minister, president of India, governor, or vice chancellor. These are all tenural posts, and tenural posts are very powerful posts. I am not asking you to resign from your professor post or engineer post or judge post. These are the posts for related to our career. Our career. So we have to protect our career also. What I'm talking that when you are in a tenural post for 5 years, for 3 years, and very high powerful posts, you can do something, you can do change the system, you can bring a transformation in the lives of the crores of people. Those posts, when you are there, you should utilize that chair for the benefit of the society at large in general, and specifically for the protection of the interests of Dalit community. When you fail to protect the interest of Dalit community, you must resign. That is the Ambedkar message in the how we could understand the prologue written by Ambedkar to the Annihilation of Caste. Section 2 of the Annihilation of Caste, you see, these are all titles which I am giving. Ambedkar was not given. I am finding those titles, the gist of what Ambedkar's message in each section of the Annihilation of Caste. Section 2, Ambedkar was talking about whether political reform is important or social reform is important. Today, many people talk about political power, political empowerment. Many people believe that without political power, there is nothing. So first, let's get the political power. Of course, political power is the most important power. Power of power is the political power, no doubt. Power of power is the political power. Like body, you have a body. For a human body, head is most important. You can't cut anything, but your body can function with the head. You can cut the legs, still body can function with the head. Such a power, political power, no doubt. Political power is the power of the power. But if that power of the power want to be actively work, if power of the power want to go, suppose if you want to go somewhere, what you require? You require legs. You require legs. If you want to do something, you require hands. Though hands and legs are not that powerful like head, but without heads and hands, you cannot even move. Then what is the use of having a head when you can't move? What I mean to say that You need supporting system. You need supporting system for politics. What is the supporting system? Like a head required body. Without body, head is nothing. Without body, head is nothing. Even if you regard head as a equivalent to political power, body is very important. And in your body, there is something called heart. Culture, social and cultural power is heart. Without heart, in the body, heart is there. So without body, even if you don't have legs, even if you don't have hands, but without body, your head is nothing. My dear friends, those who believe that political power is everything, for them, Ambedkar has an answer in the section 2 of the Annihilation of Caste. That without social power, you cannot have a political power. Yes, of course, political power is the power of the power. But how to get the power of power? Without getting the social power, you cannot have the power of the power. That is political power. So Ambedkar was very clear in the section 2 of the Annihilation of Caste that of course political power is important, but you cannot get a political power without a social power. Hence, social reform is primary necessity to get the political power. Without social, today many Dalit politics is very weak. You know why? Because Dalit politicians are not listening to Ambedkar. Dalit activists are not listening to Ambedkar. They want to build a, they want to construct a huge building without foundation. Political party, political power, these are a huge attractive building. You can become, once you become a political leader, you are there everywhere in the media. Whether you have a power or not, even if you have a political party, people come and ask you for interview. Suddenly you will become fame. Like that, glossy building, air-conditioned building. But without foundation, that building will collapse. With a weak foundation, the building will collapse. What is the foundation of the political power? It's a social power, social movement. Dalit community should work for the social capital, to create a social capital. That's the social reform movement. So Ambedkar in the section 2 clearly states that political power, to achieve the political power, you need a social power. So section 2, he was asking about the political power. He was talking about the political power. How to get the political power? Only through social power. Means only social capital can give you political capital. Only social capital can give you political capital. So Dalits should create a social capital. How do you create a social capital? You have to unite with a social identity. This thing I'll discuss in the, when Ambedkar talked about identity in his another lecture, in another section. Now, next section, section 3. Section 3, Annihilation of Caste. Ambedkar was talking about economic power. Section 2, you talked about political power. Section 3, economic power. How to create economic capital. How to create economic power. How to become economically stronger. There are two things. How Dalit community could become economically, financially stronger. How? Only two ways. One is getting government jobs, getting private jobs, means getting into the jobs. Getting into the jobs. See, whole economy works on two things, goods and services. Whole economy works in two things, goods and services. If you become a job holder in government or private, you will be providing a service. If you become another way of becoming economically powerful, business. You can start a business. Means selling the goods. Selling the goods. See, everything is a business. Even if you are government servant, that also business. Because private business people, job means what? You are working in a company. You are working in a Wipro company. You are working in a Google company. You are working in any Amazon company. You are working means you are giving your service. Service is a part of economics. It's a business. So you are IAS officer. You are doing service. Government servant, it is called. So what are you doing as a government servant? You are providing service, and service is a business. Business has only two parts. Business means economics, economic capital, economic power, financial power. That's a business. So business has two parts. One is goods and services. So if you are a servant, government servant means you are giving service and getting the money, salary. You are working in a factory, giving service in a factory, getting the wages as a labor, as a worker. So you are giving a service, whether it's a government service or a private service or a factory laborer, you are providing a service. You are getting a salary. If you are working in a factory, you are getting a wages. So this is a service. So don't think that if you become an IAS officer, of course you have a power. Why we want government jobs? Because government jobs, not only service, you will get power also, political power. Government job means you have a economic power as well as political power. Private job means you have only economic power, no political power. That's why everybody wants government jobs. Government job means government runs the state. Indian government runs the Indian state. If you become a part of government, how do you become a part of government? Not only by becoming MLA, MP or minister. You can become a part of government by becoming a government servant, by getting a government job. That's why reservations are there. If reservations are not there, we can't become a part of a government servant, government job. Why we want government job? In government job, we'll get not only economic benefit, that's the service we are providing, we'll get money. So economic empowerment is there. But we also get the political empowerment. How? We'll get the political power. So all government jobs are part of a political power. That's why in some places, if you look at the universities, there are many universities, many jobs are vacant. Reserved jobs or posts are not filled. Why? Because it's a sharing the power, not the sharing only job. You see, in government jobs, we don't get a job so easily. One, even though there is a reservation. Second thing, jobs are unfilled, not found suitable, it is said. Jobs are unfilled. Why? Because government job is not just providing you job, not giving you opportunity to grow in your life economically. Not only that, it's a sharing a power. Try to understand. You are becoming an employee in Google company or Wipro company. It is just job. You will get a salary and you will become good, some status. Economically, you will grow. Socially, economically, you will grow. But government job is more than that. Government job, even if you were attender, chaprasi, fourth class employee in government permanent job, or highest officer like IAS officer, or vice chancellor, university professor, judge, government job means not only you will get a salary, so that you will get economic empowerment. That is there in the private jobs also. You will get a social status. In society, you will be regarded as a big man because you have some status in the government. A job gives you some status. Government job or private job. So both are same. Social status, social empowerment, government job and private job is same. Economic empowerment, government job and private job is the same. But more than that, government job give you political power. Political power. Because government is a political power. Government runs whole the country. If you are part of government, you are a government employee, means you are a part of government. It means government being a political power, you are being a part of a political power. Try to understand what I'm talking. That's why we need reservations in the government jobs. But where are the government jobs? So we must work. We must negotiate with the political power to create more and more government jobs. Generally, Dalits always think of fighting. We should not fight against the government. We should not fight against the government. Whichever the government. It doesn't matter which political party is running the government. Our aim is not to fight against the government. Our aim is always to negotiate with the government. Dalit strategy should always be negotiation. Look at Ambedkar. Ambedkar never fought against the government. Try to understand. Ambedkar never fought against government. Ambedkar never fought against the British government, or Ambedkar never fought against the Congress government. During Ambedkar time I'm talking. So Dalit movement should not fight against any government. Dalit community always should negotiate with the government, negotiate with authority. Suppose you are a professor, try to negotiate with the vice chancellor. How the power can be utilized for the benefit of the Dalit community. We have to negotiate. The problem is here, many Dalits, either they become totally surrender to the authority. They surrender to the authority. Because why they surrender to authority? It's not that they don't know what they are doing. They know. It's not that they don't know what they are doing. They know. When Jesus Christ was crucified, Jesus told that God forgive these people. They don't know what they are doing. But Dalits know what they are doing. Those people who crucified Jesus, Jesus asked the God that forgive these people. They don't know what they are doing. But what I'm saying that Dalits know what they are doing. The people, Dalits who are surrendering themselves to the authority, they know what they are doing. But why they are doing? Because they are selfish people. Because they are selfish people. And what other people are doing? Those who are not surrendering to the authority, what other people are doing? They're fighting with the authority. What I'm trying to say that Dalit strategy should be neither fighting with the authority nor surrendering to the authority. What Dalits should do? They should negotiate with authority. That is Ambedkar strategy. Ambedkar is highly misunderstood by the so-called Ambedkarites of Dalit Ambedkarites. Because Ambedkar said that, educate, organize, and, educate, agitate, and, organize. So we keep on agitating. No, here agitation doesn't mean that, fighting, negotiating. Now question is that how do you negotiate? You can't negotiate when you are weak. You can because other person is powerful. He's authority. Before authority, if you want to negotiate, you need to have first thing you need to have a moral power. Moral power. You don't require thousands of people behind you. No, you don't require. You don't require thousands and thousands of people behind you stating that Hamara Neta Kaisa hai, our leader is. No, you don't require all kinds of these things. What you are required. See, you are a weak person because you don't have anything. Being a Dalit, you are numerically very minority, 15% only. So politically also you are not that much capable. 15% only out of 115% only being a Dalit. So numerically you are a minority. You are divided by different communities. There are many castes within the Dalit race. Dalit community, there are hundreds of castes. So you are divided into many minuscule castes. You are divided by many religions. There are Hindu Dalits, there are Christian Dalits, Buddhist Dalits, and Sikh Dalits. So you are divided by religion, you are divided by caste, and numerically also you are minority when you compare to other non-Dalit population in India. So what you required? Why should authority talk to you? Authority is very powerful. Why should authority talk to you when you are in the weakest position? So the only way to make Dalit community the strongest position is that moral authority. If you want to be a moral authority means you should not be a selfish. When you are not a selfish, naturally you will gain the moral authority. I tell you one thing. I tell you, history, I'm a historian. History says very clearly one lesson. That is, irrespective of the authority, how powerful, doesn't matter. If authority is very, very powerful, doesn't matter. Even 90% of people are supporting the authority, doesn't matter. Even then, authority can sit with the Dalit and talk to authority. Authority can listen to the Dalit community only by one means, that is moral authority. If you have a moral authority, if Dalit community has a moral authority, it means you should not be selfish. You should work for the community, not for your selfish gains. Ambedkar's strategy all along throughout his life is same. He never fought against the authority. That's why he always in the British government. He was in the British government. He was in the Congress government also. Many people say that, oh, Congress, you are in the part of Congress minister. No, it means that you are a dalal. Arey bhai, Ambedkar was also part of Congress minister. Then what do you say? No answer. Some people, some overhyped political activists, Dalit political activists, they call that if anybody is joining Congress, they'll say that, oh, Congress dalal. If anybody join a BJP, they say that you are BJP dalal. My dear friends, Ambedkar was also part of Congress government. Ambedkar was a minister of the Congress government. And Ambedkar was a part of Congress government that constituted a constant assembly. Had Ambedkar said that, till Dalit becomes the leaders, till Dalit becomes the rulers, I don't want to write a Constitution of India, he would have never written Constitution of India. That is a foolish strategy. Always we have to negotiate. Dalits are very minority. Try to understand. Always Ambedkar understood. Ambedkar called Dalits as a minority. It's a numerical minority, social minority. Dalit is a social minority. Don't forget. Once you forget this concept, this fact that Dalit is a social minority, then you are misguided politically. Then you will be having a wrong answers before you. So Dalits being a social minority, they should be morally powerful. To be a morally powerful, you should be not a selfish, no personal gains, only community. I tell you one thing, history is very clear. If you are working for the community without any selfishness, even yourself also can grow. Look at Ambedkar. Ambedkar throughout life, he worked for the community. But Ambedkar himself also grown. Ambedkar became member of Governor General Council in British India. Ambedkar became a first law minister. Ambedkar became an architect of the Constitution of India. So as a person also, Ambedkar also grown. But Ambedkar worked for the community. Why? How Ambedkar became so big person? Because he worked for the community without any selfish gains. If you work for the community without any selfish gains, the fact of history is that not only community, you also can grow. But many people want to grow by themselves with the selfishness, by surrendering themselves. Look at the people who are chamchas, those who are surrender themselves. They never grown. Neither they are useful for the community. It's not that by becoming a chamchas, by becoming surrendering to the authority, they have grown. No, they have not grown. They are used and thrown out. Such a people are used and thrown out by the authorities. So I'm giving a clear message, I'm trying to analyze and explain what is the Ambedkarite strategy. What strategy Ambedkar adopted? Ambedkar never fought against the authority, number one. Note down if anyone won't write. Ambedkar never fought against the authority. Ambedkar always negotiated with authority. Number one. Ambedkar never fought against the authority. Ambedkar always negotiated with the authority. Number two, if you want to negotiate with authority, why should authority negotiate with the weak people? Dalit community is a big community in terms of numbers. Dalits out of 100, only 15 people are Dalits. So politically, their votes are not important. If you take 100% as a Indian population, as 100% of Indian population, if you compare, 15% is nothing. Then why should the authority listen to the Dalit community? History tells fact that authority listen to any weak people when the weak person is morally strong. So Dalit community has only one option to be a morally strong. Morally strong means what? Morally strong means you should not surrender to the authority for your selfish gains. You should always negotiate with the authority for the community interest, not your interest. When you negotiate with the authority for community interest, naturally, not only community will grow, you yourself also can grow. That is the proven method in history. When you selflessly are negotiating with the authority for your community interest, what authority tries? Authority tries to offer you for your selfish gains. Are you forget our community? I will make you that. I will make you this. I will give you this much of money. You work. Why don't you grow yourself for your family? Why are you working your community? Don't work. Authority argue with you, but there only you have to prove yourself that no, I don't want your money. No, I don't want your power. I don't want your, what is that? No, your post. For community, I am working. Whatever power you are giving me, whatever post you are giving me, I want to use it for community. If that condition is fine, then only I will become part of that power. I will take up that post. That should be the negotiation, terms and condition of the negotiation. Negotiation. Ambedkar did it. That's why Ambedkar was a member of Governor General Council during British India. That's why Ambedkar was a law minister in Nehru government, and Ambedkar resigned. Then he could not protect his interests. That should be the strategy of every Dalit. Then what happened? Like Ambedkar, we also can grow. We don't need to become a prime minister. We don't need to become a chief minister. We don't need to become any minister. Without becoming anything also, you can achieve so much. Like Ambedkar. Ambedkar never was a chief minister or prime minister. You see, look at him. Even today, Ambedkar is a power man. Even today. He died long back. 1956, he died. Even today, Ambedkar is a very powerful. Why? Why? Because he used only one weapon. That is moral integrity. He never sold himself. He always worked for the community. When you work for your community, when you negotiate for your community, then you yourself also can gain. That's the only way one can gain. I use the same thing throughout my life. It doesn't matter whether the authority is liking me or disliking me or punishing me. It doesn't matter. Whatever today I am here, it's because I am negotiating for the community with authority throughout my life. I became the youngest professor in my, in my generation. If you look at my own friends, my own batchmates, I was the first person to become a professor in the country. Among my batchmates, when I became a professor, my friends majority of them were just lecturers. A few were associates. How I became? Always I negotiated with the authority. When I was in the Lucknow Ambedkar Central University, always, right from the first day. The day one I became a lecturer, assistant professor in Ambedkar Central University, I started negotiating with the authority for my community. Of course, I don't say that this path is very smooth. I kept my career I kept my career, my family interests, everything at risk. Doesn't matter. I know ultimately the moral capacity will win. It will win because the strongest person, the strongest authority has to bow his head down when you are morally strong. That is the history lesson. That's the history lesson. So the only way for Dalit community to become a powerful is that socially, economically, politically, Dalit community to become a powerful, that is the only one way. That is Ambedkar strategy. That Ambedkar strategy is moral authority. Gain, first create a moral capital. Without creating, Dalit means very honest people. Very honest people. Then Dalits don't sell their self-respect. They're very honest. You can't buy Dalit. You can buy anyone, but you can't buy Dalit. Every company will hire you if they come to know that Dalit works very honestly. Dalit doctor, oh no, he never prescribes unnecessarily any medicine. Dalit doctors are very honest. Let's go to Dalit doctor. He will take reasonable fee and he will give very good medicine. He never loot patient. Dalit means Dalit doctors are good. Dalit lawyers are good. Dalit professors are good. That's what moral capacity, moral Capital we have to create. This moral capital will naturally transforms into, naturally, without any effort, it naturally transforms into social capital. What we are doing, we are leaving the Ambedkar strategy. Directly we are jumping into the politics. We should not do that. Anyhow, and I have picked up a topic and discussing on that. So that's what Ambedkar was talking about. Section 2, section 3. Political power, economic power. Ambedkar clearly says social power. Social power here means, social reform here means, not that you go to the society, tell the people, no, do the intercaste marriages, fight against on the roads against the casteism, fight against the Brahmin community or some other community. No, not that. Ambedkar want to say that social reform means reform first yourself. Reform yourself. Every Dalit should reform. Social reform is the foundation to the political power and economic power. What does the social reform means? Social reform yourself. Become morally strong. Become morally strong. That's the social reform. Now, section 2, section 3 over. Next, section 4. Section 4, Ambedkar was talking about Marxism. He said that Marxism is a failed concept in India. Why? Because Marx says that labor movement. Marx say the founding principle of communism is that all workers, all laborers should unite. Without unity of the laborers, without unity of the workers, there is no communist movement. There is no Marxist movement. So to bring a communism, the Marxism suggests that Marxism says that there should be the primary condition for the success of the Marxist movement is that unity of the workers, unity of the laborers. Ambedkar says that it's a failed concept. Marxism is a failed concept in India because workers are divided in India into castes. Laborers are not only there is a division of labor, there is a division of laborers. Division of labor is there, rich and poor in Europe country. Only 2 divisions in the Western countries, rich and poor. But in India, it's not a rich and poor. All the poor people, all the laborers, all the workers should unite. That's what Marxism says. Against the rich people. All have-nots should unite against the haves. But in India, Ambedkar says that all the have-nots, all the poor people, all the poor people, all the have-nots, all the laborers, all the workers cannot unite because of the caste. A Brahmin poor, a Brahmin worker, a Brahmin laborer cannot unite with Dalit, a poor person, a Dalit worker, a Dalit laborer. Why? Because Brahmin worker caste never allows to unite with the Dalit worker. So how can Marxism will be successful? So fundamentally, Marxist concept, Marxist ideology is a failure ideology in India. It could be a successful ideology where there is no caste, where there is a probability, high probability of laborers to unite. But in India, no laborer going to unite because they are united by the caste, not by any ideology. They are divided by the caste, united by their own caste, divided by many castes. So, friends, don't believe in Marxism. Means Marxism is a good ideology. I am not questioning. Ambedkar never questioned the importance of the Marxist ideology. Ambedkar questioned the utility of Marxist ideology in India. Marxism is a waste ideology in India. Marxism is a useless ideology in India. Marxism ideology has no utility in India. Why? The primary need of the primary condition, the basic condition to make successful the Marxism is, what is the condition? If Marxism want to become successful in India, if communism want to become a successful in India, what is the basic necessity? That is unity of the workers, unity of the laborers. Ambedkar said that there is no unity of the laborers. Unity of the laborers cannot be there in India because laborers are divided by the caste. What does it mean? It means that Marxism has no use in India. Marxism is an ideology, very good ideology, very perfect ideology. But Marxism and ideology in India, in the Indian context, it's useless. It's useless. So Dalits should not become a Marxist. Dalit should not become a Marxist. Dalit should not become a communist. That is the Ambedkar message in the section. Which section? 4. Section 4, where Ambedkar discussed. What Ambedkar discussed? Division of laborers. See, many things I am talking here. That is my own interpretation of what Ambedkar said. Based on what Ambedkar said, I am interpreting Ambedkar. See, Annihilation of caste, you can read as per your own perspective. Whatever I am interpreting Annihilation of caste from my own perspective, I call it a Dalit perspective. Dalit perspective of Annihilation of caste. What I am explaining is that Dalit perspective of Annihilation of caste written by Ambedkar. That's the one. Second thing, section 5. I think no professor might have dealt Annihilation of caste section wise. Many professors, many intellectuals, they give a lecture on Annihilation of caste. But I am the first professor. KIDK is the first such an initiative that is taking up each section of Annihilation of caste. Section 5, Ambedkar talked about caste as a race. So that also you may visit my lecture on the caste and race. The next, section 6, Ambedkar talked about identity. So where Ambedkar said that Hindu identity is a myth, it's not real. That's why there is nothing called Hindu Rashtra is also myth, it's not a real. Then by RSS that there is they want to build a Hindu Rashtra. From Ambedkar, if you take Ambedkar message, Ambedkar thought that Hindu identity is a myth and building a Hindu nation and a myth is a nation also myth. Then why still RSS want to construct Hindu Rashtra? It means that that's a political idea only. In reality, there's nothing called Hindu Rashtra. That's what Ambedkar says. That's a section 6. So what we need to have? We need to have a Dalit identity. We need to have a Dalit entity. Why we need to have a Dalit entity? Dalit entity is a community identity, is an identity of a race. So caste is a social entity. To replace the caste, one social have another social identity. You cannot replace a social identity with a religious identity. You cannot replace Mahar identity, Chamar identity, Mala identity, Madhya identity with a Buddhist identity or Christian identity. No, you can't replace. You can't, even if you claim that you are a Hindu, that also, because it's a religious identity. Religious identity can replace a religious identity. A Buddhist identity can replace a Hindu identity. Suppose if you become a Buddhist, you can say yourself Buddhist. You don't need to say you are a Hindu. You don't need to say you are if you become a Christian, you can say you are a Christian. Because one religious identity can replace by another religious identity. But one social identity cannot be replaced by another religious identity. It can be replaced only by another social identity. So Dalit is a racial identity, a community identity is a social identity. So Dalit as a social entity can replace your Mahar identity, your Chamar identity. Your Mahar Chamar identity cannot be replaced by Buddhist identity. That's why many Buddhists, though they say that they are Buddhists, ultimately they'll say that they are Mahar. Ultimately, a Chamar says that he is a Chamar. The pride, social pride, you cannot get with a religious identity. And in society is a social, not a religious. Society is basically social. Hence, you need to have a social identity. You need to have a social identity. Buddhist identity or Christian identity cannot be, powerful identities. Why? Because people live in the society, not in the church, not in the Buddha Vihar, not in the temples. So, being a social being, every Dalit requires social identity. The social identity is a caste entity, then you will be ruined yourself. You need to have a racial identity, community identity, that is Dalit. So that's why I say that section 7, when Ambedkar discuss section 6, when Ambedkar discussing about the Hindu identity, I am giving that interpretation from Dalit perspective. You need to have a Dalit identity. Next, let's go to the section 7. Section 7. Section 7, Ambedkar said anti-social spirit. That's the title I have given. Caste is an anti-social spirit. That is the message Ambedkar given in the Section 7 of the Annihilation of Caste. See, as long as you say yourself Mahar, you are anti-social. If you are pride, I am a proud of being a Mahar. If you say you are a so anti-social, why? Because Ambedkar saying, not me. Ambedkar says that if you are only casteist person takes a caste identity as a pride. Caste pride is a anti-social. Caste creates anti-social spirit. That's what Ambedkar said. Section 7 of the Annihilation of Caste. Section 7 of the Annihilation of Caste, Ambedkar very clearly saying that caste is a social pride. Caste create a social, anti-social spirit. So when you Mahar is a caste. So when you become a pride of being a Mahar, it means that you are anti-social, because your Mahar identity being a caste identity, it creates only anti-social spirit. Being a Chamar, and when you say I'm a Chamar pride, many people are writing Chamar pride, Chamar what is that? Chamar what is that songs? Chamar songs, Chamar rap, Chamar dance or Mahar rap. My dear friends, if you want to adopt Ambedkar strategy, see many people accept Ambedkar and Ambedkar ideology, but they don't accept Ambedkar strategy. That's why they fail. So Ambedkar's very clear that caste identity creates only anti-social spirit. Being a Chamar, if you are pride, it is your personal matter. You can, only thing I can say that you can be as anti-social. That's it. Being a Chamar, you can be anti-social. Being a Mahar, you can be anti-social. That's what Ambedkar talking about Section 7. And Section 8, Ambedkar talking about aboriginal tribes. Ambedkar talked about tribals. Ambedkar said that this caste Hindu people, particularly the Brahmins, those who are the powerful, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, these caste Hindu people never worked for the upliftment of the Adivasi people. Section 7, Section 8 of the Annihilation of Caste, he was talking about the aboriginal tribes. Aboriginal tribes means Adivasi. So he was talking about why did caste Hindus, Brahmins, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, those who are powerful throughout the history, why they didn't work for the upliftment of the Adivasi people? Majority of the Adivasi people are living in the savage condition, means undeveloped, backward condition. Even today, caste Hindu people, means this Brahmin, Kshatriya, Vaishya people, these people praise that Adivasi have a great civilization. Of course, they might be having great civilization, but any civilization or culture only for the people. Adivasi culture, Adivasi civilization for the Adivasi people. Adivasis is not supposed not to die for their culture. Culture should work for the people. Civilization, culture should work for the people. People should not die for the culture, because culture created by the people. Culture is created by the people. So Adivasis, if the culture is not, this language is not useful today, they should change. So whole discussion we'll have some other time. I think I discussed in that lecture. You may visit that lecture. Section 7 about aboriginal tribes. Section 9, the present day. Today he talked about the backward caste. Not many people know. Annihilation of caste means only about the Dalits, anti-caste. No. Each section has something. Today's lecture is about backward caste. Fine, you start the lecture today. I think I have taken long time to come to the present lecture. It's almost 1 hour. But however, I can't help it. So let's go to the section 9. It's about backward caste, Shudra backward caste. Start the slides. Yeah, next slides. See, this is Annihilation of Caste, section 9. It's about the backward caste Shudra. Next. Next slide, please. Yeah. Look, what Ambedkar said. Ambedkar said, high caste Hindus have deliberately prevented lower caste Hindus who are within the pale of Hinduism from rising to the cultural level of the higher caste. Ambedkar questioned in section 8, Ambedkar questioned why the high caste Hindus, these Brahmin, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, who are authorities throughout the history, why they didn't work for the Adivasi people. That question he raised in the section 8. Section 9, same question is rising with regard to the backward caste Shudra people. Why didn't higher caste Hindus throughout the history, they were the powerful people, why they didn't work for the backward caste Shudras? See, look, today many higher caste Hindus, they are very good with the Adivasi people and backward caste people. You know why? Why the higher caste Hindus, they're never good with the backward caste people and Adivasi before the independence. But today they are very good with the Adivasi and backward caste. At least publicly they are good. Why? Why caste Hindus are very good with the Adivasis and the backward caste? At least publicly. Why? Why they are good? Because of the because of the vote politics. Vote politics. If Adivasi people don't have right to vote, if Adivasi votes are not required, then nobody will talk about Adivasi. Caste Hindus never will work for the Adivasi people. Same is the case with the OBC people, backward caste people. Today, why the backward caste people are, why the caste Hindus are good with the backward caste people? Because they have a vote. Why this so-called Hindu Rashtra they want to make? Because to become a powerful, if caste Hindu is a minority, Brahmin is a minority, social minority, Brahmin is a social minority, Vaishya is a social minority, Kshatriya is a social minority. The majority people are the backward caste people. So if politically caste Hindu people, if politically Brahmin wants to become powerful, if politically Kshatriya wants to become a powerful, if politically Vaishya want to become a powerful, they have to be good with the backward caste people, at least publicly. Though the history says that high caste Hindus, the Brahmin, Kshatriya, Vaishya, never worked. That's what Ambedkar raised in the question. Never worked for the upliftment of the backward caste Shudra. That's what section 9, Annihilation of caste, Ambedkar rising. Why today they are good? Even today also they are not working, in fact. But at least some extent they are working. Why? Some extent they are good with the backward caste people and Adivasi people. Why? And Dalits also. Why? Why they are good with these people? Because they want these people votes. Because of the vote bank politics. Had Ambedkar not given right to vote to the backward caste people, even today, the caste Hindu people would have not bothered about the backward caste. Had Ambedkar not given right to vote to the Adivasi, caste Hindu people would have not bothered about the Adivasi. Had Ambedkar not given right to vote to the Dalits, caste Hindus would have never bothered about the Dalits. Today, caste Hindus, at least they are doing something, some benefits they are ready to give to the Dalits, Adivasi and backward caste because they have right to vote, which Ambedkar gave. So ultimately, it's Ambedkar who gave empowerment to the caste Hindus, the backward caste, Dalits and Adivasi. So this section is about the backward caste. Now Ambedkar in this section, go to the next slide. See, in this section, Ambedkar was giving two examples. In Maharashtra, there are two backward caste communities. Shudra, backward caste are Shudras. Don't mistake, Dalits are not Shudra. Many people are confused. They are mistaken with the Shudra identity. Don't confuse. Very clear with the concept of Shudra. Dalits and Adivasi are not Shudra. Brahmins are Brahmins. Vaishyas are Vaishyas. Kshatriyas are Kshatriyas. Then who are the Shudra? Brahmins are Brahmins. Kshatriyas are Kshatriyas. Vaishyas are Vaishyas. Dalits are Dalits. Adivasis are Adivasis. Then who are the Shudra? The left out people are backward caste. There are some upper caste Shudra like Maratha, Jat, Patel, Nair, Kayastha. These people are upper caste Shudra, upper Shudra. Who are the backward caste Shudra? Backward caste Shudra are OBCs. So this sonar means, sonar means goldsmith. When you want to buy a gold, you go to sonar. So that is the sonar community in Maharashtra. There is one Patare Prabhu. That is also another backward caste OBC community in Maharashtra. So Ambedkar was, taking the examples of these communities. Then these two communities want to become Brahmin. They want to become a Brahmin. They want to behave like a Brahmin. So what how Brahmin reacted? Because Brahmins don't want any other community to become equivalent to them in the as a socially equivalent to them. For economics, any other community to become equal to them. So, for example, I'll give it to means one of the Sonas and the other in Maharashtra. Again, Ambedkar says, like rest of the communities, these communities were at the time endeavoring to adopt some of the ways and habits. Normally, everybody want to become a Brahmin. Of course, some people want to become only Kshatriya. They don't want to become Brahmin. They don't have even courage to become a Brahmin. So many people, like Yadavs of North India, they want to become a Kshatriya. They don't want to become a Brahmin because they don't even have a guts or courage to claim that they want to become a Brahmin. So they'll say that they want to become Kshatriya only. But these two communities have a guts. They have courage. The Sonar and Prabhu, Patare Prabhu, they want to become directly Brahmin. It's not that they want to become Kshatriya or Vaishya. They want to become a Brahmin, directly Brahmin. So how Brahmin community, even today, many people, my friend, one day what happened, so I was working that time in Ambedkar Central University, Lucknow. So I met a friend. He was my JNU friend. When I was studying in Jawaharlal Nehru University, he was my friend there. So when I was working in Ambedkar Central University as an assistant professor, so he was also working in some bank, private bank, as an assistant bank manager. It's a private bank, very, it's a very highly, reputed private bank. I met him. He belonged to Uttar Pradesh only. That guy is a Dalit guy. So Uttar Pradesh Dalit guy. I don't know whether that guy is a Chamar Dalit or Pasi Dalit. Which Dalit I don't know exactly, but that guy was a Dalit guy from Uttar Pradesh. So accidentally, we met one cafeteria. So we had a small, discussion, having a coffee in a cafeteria. So you know what immediately said? I asked him that, have you got married? I asked, did you get married? So he said that, yes, I'm married. You know, who is my wife? He asked. I thought that, his wife must be also bank manager. That's what you want to say? Or his be like me as assistant professor, some politician, you know who is my wife. I thought like that. When he said that, you know who is my wife. You know what was his answer? So excitingly, he told, I got married. You know who is my wife? Very excitingly said, my wife is a Brahmin. Oh, as if he achieved some, Oscar award. He was saying that my wife is a Brahmin. Then I said, oh, you loved that girl. You said that it's a love marriage. You loved that girl. You are not giving importance to love. It means that you loved that girl because she is a Brahmin, not that you have a love towards her. So you are stupid. You are an idiot. You don't have any value to love. You are giving value to the caste, and you have an inferiority complexion. That's why you are claiming that your wife is a higher caste. So you are a number one casteist. You are antisocial. In section 8 and section 9. So next. Here Ambedkar said, this
Sonar were styling themselves Devandiya Brahmin and were wearing their dhotis with folds on and using the word namaskar for salutation. both the folded way of wearing the dhoti and the
Yeah, that's
namaskar.
fine. That's fine. Next, see, sonars were styling themselves Daivadnya Brahmins. They are calling themselves Brahmins. Look, their community is a sonar because sonar means what? Goldsmith. In America also, there is a goldsmiths. They should be proud of that. That's why they are called sonars. But they want to become a Brahmins and they want to change the name from sonar to Brahmin. What kind of Brahmin? Daivadnya Brahmins. Means God for God, God kind Brahmins. Brahmins will allow them. And they what they started, they are using the dhoti also like Brahmins. You see, Brahmins, how to identify the Brahmins? Two ways. Brahmins have what is the backside? What it is called? What is it called in Sanskrit? Backside, in the hair.
Chuti.
Huh?
Chutiya
Chutti.
something. Yes, sir.
Chuttiya is a colloquial word. There must be some Sanskrit word for that. Anybody is there? Any Brahmin is there here? They can tell. Anyhow, this that suppose there are many Brahmin. Huh?
शिखा
Pardon me?
कहते हैं, शिखा शिखा
No,
शिखा
that
बोलते हैं सर।
chutiya is called what it is?
शिखा बोलते हैं सर संस्कृत में, शिखा।
Shika means actually top. Shikara means topmost. Shika
Yes, sir.
means top. Shikara means topmost. Shika
Yes,
means
sir.
top. Like in that many women also say tops. No, women also wear some tops. No, like that the Brahmins have the top. This antenna type. I should not say that with due regards to the Brahmins. I'm sorry to say that there is something called shika. Shika means top. I see. We must respect the Brahmin. Their own sentiment. Why should we criticize them? See, don't become like a Brahmin. Ambedkar never wanted to become a Brahmin, but this sonar and caste, this Prabhupada, these people want to become a Brahmin. So they are also imitating like a Brahmin. They are using the Brahmin dhoti. Brahmin dhoti. See, nowadays many Brahmins don't use this. They have a clear cutting. Many Brahmins don't have this shika, the cutting. So how do you identify Brahmin then? In that case, they have a dhoti. Dhoti folded. Dhoti also there is some foldings are there, some kind of folding. So and Brahmin how they greet. Brahmin Dalit how the Dalit greet. How the Ambedkarite Dalit greets. Hello. Ambedkarites greet. Ambedkar Dalit say hello. But Brahmin that Sanatan Brahmin say Namaskar. It's a Brahmin salutation. Brahmins, if the Brahmin with a folded dhoti, and if he's saying that Namaskar, it means that he is a Brahmin. That's a Brahmin culture. Even if Brahmin is not using this, holding this shika or chutiya, whatever it is, many majority Brahmins are not having that. Then how the Brahmin present himself? He present himself with a folded dhoti and he will say Namaskar. That's a Brahmin culture. What about the Ambedkar Dalit culture? Ambedkar Dalit culture is that hello, shake hand, saying hello. That's the Ambedkar Dalit culture. But here what happened? Sonar people, they are calling themselves Brahmins. Not only that, they are wearing the dhoti with the folds like a Brahmins. They are also saying Namaskar. Today many used it. But today, many Dalits also want to imitate Brahmins. There are some Dalits. They also use the dhoti with the folding like Brahmin. They also say Namaskar. They want to be Brahmin. But during British time, Brahmins opposed. Brahmins don't want anybody to behave like a Brahmin, to imitate like a Brahmin. But today, Brahmins say that Dalits and Shudra people to behave like a Brahmin. Why Brahmins wanted Shudras? Same sonars. Today, if they want to become like a Brahmins are happy. But during British time, they were not happy. Why? Because during British time, Brahmins don't require sonar votes. There is no voting rights. Was no, Brahmins don't want sonar votes. Today, Brahmins want Shudra votes. Today, Brahmins want Dalit votes. That's why Brahmins want Dalits to become like a Brahmins, imitate like a Brahmins. Brahmins have no problem if Dalits claim themselves as Brahmins. Brahmins have no problem if Dalits behave like a Brahmins. Brahmins have no problem if they use the dhoti with the folds. Brahmins have no problem if Dalit says that Namaskar. Now, why? Because Dalits have a votes. Brahmins votes, Dalit votes. But during British time, Sonars are not Dalits. Sonars are backward caste, Shudras. Even today, Sonar people claim themselves as Brahmins. You know that? Go and talk to any Sonar. He will say that we are Brahmins, they will say. Even today. But that time, Brahmins opposed. Next slide. See, not only Brahmins opposed, what the Brahmins did, under the authority of Peshwas, the Brahmins successfully put down this attempt on the part of the Sonars to adopt the ways of the Brahmins. Peshwa rule in the Pune, Peshwa rule. This, Sonars tried to become a Brahmins. What Brahmins did, they asked the Peshwas, the rulers, Peshwas also Brahmins, they asked the Peshwa rulers to impose penalty, to punish the Sonars. Anybody say Namaskar, they are punished. If anybody, any non-Brahmins, if anybody, any non-Brahmin, particularly the Sonars, if Sonars say Namaskar, if Sonars are wearing the dhoti like a Brahmins, they are punished. They are punished. Why it was there during the Peshwa time? Because Peshwas, Brahmins don't require the votes of the Sonars. There was no voting right to the Sonars that time. Since the Sonars have no voting right, Sonars are votes are not required to the Brahmins. That's why Brahmins oppose the Sonars to behave like a Brahmins. But today if Sonars want to become like a Brahmins, Brahmins have no problem. Why? Because Brahmins want Sonars votes. Because political power is the power of the power. Next, they even so even from the British also, Brahmins asked the British government also to impose the fines on the Sonars. Next, Patare Prabhu. This Patare Prabhu is a very interesting backward caste community in the Maharashtra. They are highly progressive community. These Patare Prabhus are progressive community because in that community there is a intercaste marriage. Not intercaste marriage. Patare community has a widow remarriage. If any girl husband is died, they don't do sati. They don't burn the girl like Brahmins. Brahmins girl their widow. Brahmins have the sati marriage. Brahmins, suppose in a Brahmin woman, husband died, that Brahmin woman is burnt alive. That is called sati. That is called tati. That is the Brahmin culture. Sati is a Brahmin culture. If any Brahmin woman, husband died, that Brahmin woman supposed to commit a sati. Means she is burnt alive. That is called sati. This Patare Prabhu is a backward caste community, Shudra community. This Shudra Patare Prabhu, they are very progressive community. If their woman, any husband died, that woman is not committed sati, not forced to do sati. Woman is not burnt alive. But the woman can remarriage. A widow can remarriage. A widow can remarriage. Such a highly progressive community in Maharashtra, this Patare Prabhu. But some sections of the Patare Prabhu thought that they want to become a Brahmin. To become a Brahmin, you have to behave like a Brahmin. You have to imitate Brahmin. Imitating Brahmin means what? You have to adopt the Brahmin culture. You have to adopt the Brahmin culture. You have to say Namaskar. You have to use the dhoti. You have to put that shika. And more than that, this Patare Prabhu wanted commit forceful sati. Means widow remarriage is abolished. They want to adopt the Brahmin culture. They want to make Patare Prabhu they want to make their women to commit the sati. They want to burnt alive their widows. So they want to put a ban on the widow remarriage. That's a regressive. Brahmin culture was at that time very regressive culture, very backward culture, very undeveloped culture, very savage culture, Brahmin culture. The sati is a savage culture. This is a forcefully a woman is burnt alive. Widow is a burnt alive, is a savage culture, undeveloped culture. But Patare Prabhu, it's a very highly progressive cultural culture. Shudra culture is a very progressive culture. That time, Shudra culture was a very progressive culture. This Patare Prabhu people having widow remarriage practice. So widow remarriage is a progressive culture. But some of the Patare Prabhu community people, they want to adapt Brahmin culture, which is a very savage, regressive culture. What is that? They want to also introduce sati marriage. Sati, that's burning alive, the widows. They want to start it. Then what Brahmins did? You know what Brahmins did? The Brahmins asked the next one. How Brahmins reacted? See, with the object of raising the status of their communities, some Patare Prabhus sought to stop this practice of widow remarriage that was prevalent in the Patare Prabhus. So the Patare Prabhu community divided into two. Some sections of the Patare Prabhu Shudra culture is highly progressive culture in comparison to Brahmin culture. Brahmin culture is highly regressive culture. And Shudra culture is highly progressive culture if you take the case study of the Patare Prabhus in the Maharashtra. But unfortunately, some of the Patare Prabhu people, they want to imitate, they want to behave like a Brahmins. They want to become a Brahmins. Means becoming a Brahmin means what? You are adopting very regressive culture. You are adopting they don't want Patare Prabhu people to become a Brahmin. That's why Brahmins imposed a Brahmin Pishwas. They imposed fine, penalty, and arrest punishment on the Patare Prabhu people, those who want to become Brahmin, by adopting the sati. See how the history play the game. How the history play the game. So finally what happened? Patare Prabhu people could not introduce sati, the regressive culture, Brahmin culture. History has rescued them and they have continued with the widow remarriage. So many people think that only Brahmin culture is the highly developed culture. No. Brahmin culture is highly undeveloped culture. Shudra culture is highly developed culture. Look at the Patare Prabhu Shudra community. They have the widow marriage, whereas Brahmins have the sati. The which culture is a highly developed culture? Shudra culture is highly developed culture. These Patare Prabhu people, instead of taking pride of their Shudra identity, they want to have a Brahmin identity. Today there are many Shudras. They want to become a Brahmin. Today there are many Adivasi. They want to become a Brahmin. Today there are many Dalits. They want to become a Brahmin. What Ambedkar trying to say through this section 9 is that Brahmins never interested to uplift Dalits, Adivasi or backward caste. Today they are trying, at least publicly, today Brahmins are trying to be with the Dalits, Adivasi and backward caste only for the votes, for the political power. Otherwise, history is a fact. The history gives a fact that never ever caste Hindus. Ambedkar used the term caste Hindus. What does it mean? Caste Hindus means Brahmin, Kshatriya and Vaishya, particularly the Brahmins. Never try to uplift politically or economically. Moreover, Brahmin culture itself is in a undeveloped culture as far as sati is concerned. So why should we imitate Brahmin culture? That's why Ambedkar said that Dalits should not imitate Brahmin culture. Because Brahmin's history and culture, if you go, that's why if you look back, if you study the history of the Brahmins, if you study the cultural history of the Brahmins, it is a highly undeveloped culture. Ambedkar never wanted Dalits or anyone to go back and adopt the Brahmin culture. It means that there is no widow remarriage. You have to push your widows, your women, to commit forceful sati, that is a burning alive. Next. Now Ambedkar said that Mohammedans, Christians, they worked for the upliftment of the Dalits, Adivasi and OBC. Some or other way, particularly Christians, they worked for giving the modern education, for giving the hospital, constructing the hospital and this thing. What is that? So Ambedkar said that if Mohammedans, Christians, even if they are forcefully developing this backward caste, Shudras, that's a good. Ambedkar says that Hindus, see, look at it. The Hindu, what Ambedkar said, listen, the Hindus criticize the Mohammedans, means Muslims. The Hindus criticize the Muslims, Mohammedans, for having spread their religion by the use of sword. They also ridicule Christians. They also ridicule Christianity on the score of the Inquisition. Generally, what it said, Christians give the money. That's why many people convert to the Christianity. If that is the true, today all the Dalit Christians, Dalit backward caste people, backward caste Christians, and Adivasi Christians, they would have become millionaires and billionaires, very rich people. If really Christian people are giving the money, where is the money? They're still the poor. Christians, all of them are educated. Dalit Christians, Shudra Christians, backward caste Christians, or Adivasi Christians, they're all educated. Why? Because in Christianity, you have to read the Bible. If you want to read the Bible, you must be educated. Without reading the Bible, you can't be a Christian. So to read the Bible, you have to get the education. So Ambedkar says that even if Muslims or Christians forcefully converted, it's a better. Why? Because at least they are uplifted. I'm not saying this. Don't tell me. I'm not saying that. That's why deliberately I made a slide. Don't mistaken that. I'm not talking in favor of the Muslims or Christians. It is Ambedkar who is talking. Ambedkar said that even if Christians or Muslims, they are forcefully converted the Dalits, Shudras or Adivasi. That's a good in comparison to the Hindus. Why? Hindus are not even try to develop these people. Never try to develop people. It's better to become a developed community, even if it is a development is a forceful means adopted by the Mohammedan Christian. That's a better. That's what Ambedkar said. Next slide. Next slide. Look at this. What Ambedkar said. Can anybody read? Anybody read? Shreyat, you read it. Shreyat, read it. Mr. Shreyat. Or anyone from outside? Anyone?
सर मैं ड्राइविंग कर रहा हूँ सर.
Any other person? There are many. I want some other people to read. Fine. Akash, carry on.
But really speaking, who is the better and more worthy of our respect? The Mohammedans and Christians who attempted.
Wait. Now he is comparing Mohammedan Christians with the Hindus. Now he says that being a Dalit or being a Shudra, backward caste, or being a Adivasi, always Brahmin, Kshatriya, Vaishya, these caste Hindus, always they accuse Muslims and Christians that they are forcefully converting Dalits into Christianity or Muslims. They are forcefully converting the Adivasi into Christianity and Muslims. They are forcefully converting the backward caste people, Shudra people into Christianity and Muslims. This is what generally caste Hindu people, the Brahmins, Kshatriya and Vaishya people accuses Mohammedans and Christians. This is what Ambedkar said in the last slide. In this slide, Ambedkar says that if that is the true, even if it's a true that Muslims and Christians are converting these Hindus, these backward caste people, even if it is true that Mohammedans and Christians are forcefully converting the Dalits, forcefully converting the Shudras, backward caste, forcefully converting the Adivasis, then also Muslims and Christians are better in comparison to the Hindus. Why? Why? Because at least they are converting and making us to become a developed communities. We are getting education. We are getting the health. We are becoming a developed communities. We are leaving this savage culture. But Hindus never tried to develop us. I want to say here. So read it very clearly. But read it, Akash. Totally read it. Very clearly, slowly read it so that people can understand.
But really speaking, who is better and more worthy of our respect? The Mohammedans and Christians who attempt to thrust down the throats of unwilling persons who they regarded as necessary for their salvation, or the Hindus who would not spread the right, who would not spread the light, who would endure to keep and willing to make it a part of their own makeup.
Next slide. Here Ambedkar gives answer. Whether Muslims and Christians are better or Hindus are, whether Muslims and Christians who forced us to adopt their religion. Of course they forced, even if it is a force, but that is a better. But Hindus, even forcefully they put us down. They kept us forever in the backwardness. That's why Muslims and Christians are better than the Hindus. That is the conclusion Ambedkar draws in this statement. Read it.
I have no hesitation in saying that if the Mohammedan has been cruel, the Hindus has been mean, and meanness in a worse than cruelty.
Listen, if the Mohammedans are cruel in converting the Hindus into the Muslims, Muslim Islam religion, if Mohammedans are very cruel towards to become Muslim, that is a better. Why? Because cruelty is a better than the meanness. Hindus are meanness. Here Hindu means he is referring to the Brahmins, particularly the Brahmins, Krishna and Vaishyas, particularly the Brahmins. Why? Because these people being in authority, they never tried to develop Dalits, Adivasi and Shudras, the backward caste. In this section 9, particularly he is talking about the backward caste. This is what about today. Thank you very much. Jai Bhim, Jai Bharat.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir, for delivering today a wonderful lecture on annihilation of caste with the respect of backward community, backward caste. So, can we go for a question session? I think there is a very few people left. Hello, sir.
No, it's up to the people. If anybody wants a question, they are ready. They are welcome. If they otherwise, no problem. We'll go ahead.
Okay, please, those who want to ask a question related to today's lecture, please go ahead and ask the question.
Fine, go for the vote of thanks.
Yeah, thank you, sir. So with the permission of the chair, we are going to official vote of thanks for today's lecture. So I really thank to all the coordinators of Karunyakara Institute of Dalit Knowledge. I especially thank Dr. Darshana Meshram, Dr. Smita Bhagat, Dr. Sukeshni, Vijay Kumre, Shreyat and Shashikant, who continuously making this lecture series successfully completed. And I really thank to the participant also who are continuously engaging with the Dalit knowledge and also participating in our lecture series. I also thank Professor Dr. Leela Karunyakara sir for delivering such a wonderful lecture and providing a very important platform to all of us where we engage with a very important topics and engagement with the intellectuals of the Dalit community like Ambedkar, Phule and other intellectuals. I really thank all of them. Now, I request all of you, those who missed anything from today's lecture or the previous lecture, please go and check our Dalit Knowledge YouTube channel, where all the recorded lectures are already published, and today's lecture are going to be published in coming days. So please go and check the link, or also please subscribe to our channel. We will going to meet on next Saturday with the next part of Annihilation of Caste, and hopefully you all come there and interact with with us. Thank you. Bye bye. Take care. We will meet soon.